It's Todd and Hendo from 94.5 Cats FM, Yakima Valley's rock station, and this is our portion to talk to one of our miracle families, but we're really fortunate because the Children's Miracle Network miracle family that we get to talk to today is part of our radio family, too. And in the studio with us here this morning is Michelle Riggs, and her husband is...
John Riggs on 92.9 The Bull.
How long has John been working here at the radio station? I'm getting old and my memory fails.
Oh my gosh. Is it 6 years?
15 years.
He worked here before, but
here.
6 years.
6 years.
The last time.
That's
Laura,
amazing.
Laura, step up to the mic.
6 years here.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Okay.
Laura, how old are you?
12.
You're 12.
You had to think about that.
And
It's okay, I'm like that too.
And you can remember how long her dad's worked here, but
I can't
her own
remember.
age, that's...
And you're the oldest of the Riggs children.
Yes.
Is that difficult being the oldest, or is it the best?
It's basically the best.
I'm the oldest in my family, and I agree with you.
I am
I'm
also the
oldest,
oldest.
too.
Yeah.
I would agree, but you do have to take care of the younger siblings, don't you?
Yes.
Michelle, tell us how you and John met.
We met through radio class. He came to visit and he had blue hair, and I was like, "Ooh, that guy's kind of hot."
And sparks flew.
Yep, it flew, and we went on our first date, and a year later we were married.
And then when did Miss Lily pop out? How long after that?
Lily or Laura?
I'm sorry, Laura.
It's okay.
Laura.
She was born in 2005, so 3 years?
So no shotgun wedding. Good for you.
No. That's true. I think everyone thought so. 'Cause they're like, so, how far along are you? I'm like, I'm not pregnant.
Ouch.
And then when did Lily come up here for a second? Okay, she doesn't want to. She's being
Okay,
shy.
she was born in 2007.
And then your third child, your only son,
2008.
Jaren, and he's
She was 3 months old when we found out we were pregnant.
okay.
Ouch.
That- yeah,
that
it
happened to
was-
me. My first one and my second one, boom, boom. 14 months apart.
It's intense.
It
Because you're
is.
just like, you almost forget, because pregnancy brain just messes with you, so you forget their childhood.
Yeah.
You're just like, we were a family from the very beginning, which is not true, but you forget that.
Now the reason you're representing Children's Miracle Network is because your family and your children benefit from Children's Village,
Yes.
and it's because Jaren is. What is his diagnosis, and when did you find out?
He is on the autism spectrum disorder. He has low functioning autism.
Which means
It means that he can talk a little bit, but not as much as others, and definitely needs more services. So,
when did you? Here's your brand new baby boy, and your heart's filled with joy.
right.
And then as they're developing, there's certain markers for every child. And when did you start realizing like something wasn't right, especially after having two daughters?
It was about a year that he started falling behind. Some of the speeches that he was getting started regressing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was about 18 months when they officially said, he probably has autism. And
What did that make you feel like when you heard those words?
trying to think, like, a little shocked, only because you have this kind of idea of what you want for your family, and you're like, okay, he's going to do really good in school, and he's going to get married and make me a grandma, and he'll probably be in radio just like his daddy. You just think of all these things
The future, yeah. Every parent wants better for their child.
Right, and so now it's like, well, we're trying to decide what happens when he becomes an adult. Do we have to put him in a facility? Does he stay with us and just continue to live with us and have a caregiver? It's such a hard thing to think about and talk about, especially when you see him at 9 years old and he's having fun and he's playing with you and he's smiling and laughing, but then there's always that underlying thought of what the future is going to.
And what is his prognosis, and how much progress, if any, has he made in 9 years or
made
8.5 years?
Amazing progress because of Children's Village.
And what do they do to help his progress and help your family?
Well, when he was younger, they did speech therapy and occupational therapy to kind of get to where he can do some more of the fine gross motor skills. Mm-hmm. So he's had that. He's had therapy on horseback through the Pegasus Project. He has done feeding therapy because he's very limited in what he will eat, and so it took a long time to get him to eat anything other than cereal, and he's able to do that now. He had BAT, which is Behavior Assessment Team, and they just sort of work on some of the behavioral aspects, so like if he's getting aggressive and stuff like that, they work with the family. And then he's done ABA therapy, and he's back in ABA therapy now.
For people that don't, obviously have a child that's, again, low functioning, autistic, there's a lot of challenges on a daily basis.
Right.
And what have been and what continue to be as a mom that's home while John is here at the radio station every day, things that you have to deal with that nobody really sees other than your closest friends and family?
Well, recently we had to hospitalize him because of his behaviors.
Which would be?
In Seattle Children's Hospital.
What are the behaviors that he displays that you have to contend with?
Aggressive, very aggressive. It's hard because he doesn't know how to say what's going on, and so he'll hit and bite and scratch and goes on these tangents where it takes a long time.
You were talking about a lot of the training that he's done.
Yeah.
Have they trained you guys?
Yes, they talk about is safety first. So making sure that the girls are somewhere safe where he can't get to them. They remind you that it's okay to call services that you need, which is hard, thinking, oh my gosh, I have to call 911 on my child at this moment. They also remind you that even when he's at his worst, it's not because of you.
What's the worst part for you, and I've known you for a long time, Michelle, what's the worst part for you, like when you're in public and he will have an outburst and people, you've talked about the cruelty of people.
People are very cruel because they don't understand it, and
Right.
they refuse to think that maybe it's something other than just a kid being a jerk. I get a lot of people staring, shaking their head. I had one person, after I said, well, he has autism, saying, why don't you put him in a home? And I was like, well, why don't I put you in a grave? Because it's like, you don't say that to
on the inside,
to a mom,
right.
It's harsh, yeah. You almost want to wear a sign that says, my kid has autism, what's your excuse?
That's great. I know that one of the things you and John, as just adults and parents, have benefited from Children's Miracle Network, which is Children's Village Memorial Foundation, that sort of thing, is the parental support group.
Oh, yeah. They have...
What's the name of that, and how often do you guys meet?
Well, there's Autism Support Group, which is for, parents of, grandparents of kids with autism, and that's once a month on a Thursday. And then I'm also part of Holland, which is, it's an 8-week course that kind of goes over what you might be feeling, the how you deal with outsiders, how you deal with professionals and stuff like that. And then they have a twice a month now meeting where you can get together with the other parents that have kids with special needs and just talk about, oh my gosh, school's starting and I'm so nervous about how he's going to do in his first day and stuff like that. And
when you get done with one of those meetings where you're talking to other parents, and I'm sure you've developed friendships and relationships.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And they're all going through similar, if not same things. When you get done with a meeting, how do you feel after that?
You feel great. You had a chance to just express what you were feeling, but you're with other people who cry with you and laugh with you and cheer you on, and you really just share. They become your family.
And the operative word is they understand.
They do understand. Yes, they do. It's nice having a group that understands exactly what I'm going through.
Yeah, it's one thing to try to empathize, and another thing to actually understand what it's like to deal with that.
Right.
It's not like you can call timeout. Hey, kid, today's not the day.
Yeah, no kidding.
I need a break. You guys don't get that opportunity.
No.
You can't just call a timeout. And
I wish you could. That'd be amazing.
Wouldn't it be great if you just push pause on life? But we don't get a chance to do that.
No.
And he obviously doesn't understand. Hey, it's quiet time.
Right. Or it's
really quick. Can you come up by Mom for a second?
Yeah.
For a second. And get really close to the microphone. I know you know how to do it. I want to ask you guys I want to ask you guys one question.
Sorry, Todd.
Okay.
I've got you.
How cool is your brother Jaren?
He is really cool. Until when he starts to hit, then I'm like, oh no, not this.
No, I know. Well, and it's amazing to me, like, how great my girls are, especially when we had to be in Seattle. They held down the fort. Laura went and helped out her great-grandma, who has been having some health issues, and just kind of kept her doing well. And then Lily was just making sure that Daddy got rest and that he was eating, because John tends to forget.
And I'm going to ask you one last question, Michelle. Even though Jaren's got this certain diagnosis and a certain, mostly certain prognosis for the rest of his life, I know you still have dreams for him.
Right.
What is that?
I just want him to be happy. That's all I ask.